Alright, we got some news. I got underneath there and jumpered the two starter wires together and it worked. So I went and got my little switch that I have here. Of course it's not working now. What the heck? Well, I don't think I addressed something when we started on the new Ramcharger project. So you might be wondering where B-split is. And if you don't know what B-split is, it was our 1970 C10 project. And I actually sold B-split to a friend of mine. Here's Billy driving away in it now. Billy actually bought the truck for me. He was a good friend of mine, and I didn't know he was interested, but he was, and he told me he'd want to check it out, and he drove it home. So we struck a good deal. But what's cool about that is he's daily driving that truck, and I just think that's awesome. I couldn't be happier with a purchase like that, to where you put a lot of work into something and somebody else is able to enjoy it. And he's a really good mechanic too, so he's got some plans for it. So you might see B-split in the future on the channel, just giving little updates of what Billy's done to it. But right now he's just driving it every day, and that's super cool. So moving on, I think I'm going to try to start at least getting this thing maybe to fire up today. So we're going to work on that. The first thing that it needs, now that it's all cleaned up inside, is the starter's pad. And I have done some wire testing on the starter. These starters are super simple to replace on these Dodges. So I did some wire testing with my circuit tester, whatever you want to call it. And I got power at the starter. I got power when you hit the switch, but the starter's not doing anything. So that tells me it is no good. I got one coming from O'Reilly's, but I've got to pull this dude off first. So I'm gonna the Nova battery in here just for now until we buy a battery for it. But I'm gonna get to work on taking that starter off, and then we're kind of gonna go from there. So let me grab some tools and get under this thing and get this starter off. All right, this shouldn't be too big of a deal. Access is my major concern. Let me see what size that bottom electrical connector is. It's definitely not a 3/8. Let me see what we got here. Try an 11/32. That'd be the one. It's gotta be close. It's nice to be able to get under something that's you don't have to jack up to work on. Definitely a pro of the four-wheel drives. 1/2 inch, maybe. That goes. And the whole stuff's turning, but the cable prevents it from turning too much. It has been a while since I changed the Mopars starter, and so far it's as easy as I remember it being. There should be another bolt right here, somewhere up on top. There it is. Got a little motor on it, and a bolt down here. It's a 5/8. Huh? I'll be damned. 5/8. All right, so. That's what I get for saying it was going to be easy. It's hard to see, but the bolt is all the way down here, and it's going to be easier to get from the top. So, I've got a swivel and a long extension, and it's still gonna be difficult. Oh, there it goes. Nice. Well, I think that's loose enough. Oof, now just one more bolt. Like a ballet here. Oh crap. Can I get to it with the wrench? Alright, let me do this again. I got the starter off. 2 bolts, like I said. I did have to use an extension with a wobbler on it to get that top one, and it's not a lot of fun, but it's not the worst thing in the world. But notice a couple things when I'm down here. First of all, this is the clutch fork. You can see I can move it already. It needs to be adjusted. So it needs to be adjusted almost about that much, which is something we can do right here with this nut. So that's going to be nice and easy to do. I'm inspecting the wire that's coming for the starter. Show you all right here. Actually looks really good. There's a grommet in the frame. I like that. The tape's not great, but I don't see any issues with chewing up the wire itself, so that's good. But I did notice this, and that's not great. This is the brake line that comes from, I guess, the master cylinder. It goes to both sides of the front, and it looks terrible. That is hopefully you guys can see that. Yeah, that's no good. So noted on that. May have to start ordering some of these things. Somebody has done brake lines on the front of this before, hard lines. They look okay, I guess, maybe. Yeah, we'll find out if I can get these off. I may not be able to. But that's something later on down the road. Let's go get that starter and get that thing in place and see if we might be able to get it to maybe fire up or something. Working on a small block Mopar sure brings back memories. That's all I used to have was 318s and 340s, and well, I only have one 340. I never had it run. Anyway, that's a side point. But I remember tricks on these starters. For example, I like to find this is the regular starter bolt, and I like to find shorter ones, especially for the top side, because believe it or not, these bolts go through the starter just like that, and then they go into the bell housing of the trans, and they come out the back side. I mean, they come out a good 1/4 inch or so. So this makes it a whole lot easier to get in there and thread and get started. I forgot how bad the access to the top of the starter was on these things, but this makes it just a little bit easier, and I don't see why it wouldn't be just as safe, because it still goes, you know, this much into the bell housing. So I don't know, just a little tip. Who knows? Let me slap this thing back in, and then we'll get started on the rest of it. Okay, starter's in. I also did a little repair, if I can find it. When we were looking over the truck, we noticed that there had been a mouse chewing on one of the coil wires, which is actually the trigger wire. So I just did a quick fix on it. It's not beautiful, but neither is anything on here. But let's see if the starter works. Let me get the battery hooked up and hit the key, see what happens. Let's turn the key. Still nothing. Well, that doesn't help me. Well, that's just disappointing. Crap. Alright, let me go see if I can jump it and see if that does anything with the starter. Alright, we got some news. I got underneath there and jumpered the two starter wires together and it worked. So I went and got my little switch that I have here. Of course, it's not working now. What the heck? Oh, I think it's in here. So I have that. That's something. So that relay's probably bad, is my guess. So I'll have to look at replacing that. But all right, so I just turned the ignition on in the cab, and I'm going to spray some brake cleaner down this thing. Let's see if it does anything. It does not. Well, let's take a break and see if we get a spark plug out and see if we got spark. All right, I'm gonna watch this spark plug here. See, I'm hearing something over there. It sounds promising, spark-wise. I'm not seeing any spark. Nope. Let's see if we can get it from the coil itself. All right. Watch right down in here. I don't know if that's going to show up on the camera, but I've got spark there, so that's good. But I don't have spark at the spark plug. So let's pull that cap off and see what we're working with. All right. Like I said, it's easy, right? It's supposed to be. Man. Alright. Now, I don't really see anything that would cause any issue. You look at the rotor. Rotor looks okay. So the parts store did not have a cap and rotor for a small block Mopar, or at least this one. So I had to order some, which I did. They're here, and I just threw them on. And the more I look at this rotor is not in fantastic shape. And the cap is a little corroded too. This one doesn't look that bad, but I don't know. Maybe that's my issue. I did turn it over just a little bit ago with the cap off to see if the rotor spun. If the rotor doesn't spin, you probably have like a broken timing chain, but I didn't think this was like that because the spark was going off on the coil. So, cap and rotor on, got it back in place. Let's see if I can get it to fire with a little bit of gasoline. Throw a little gas down the carburetor. Oh, That didn't go well. And there's fuel everywhere. Well, let me wait till that goes away. Let's try this again with a better delivery method there. All right. Battery on. All right. Hey, it runs. How about them apples? We're onto something. It ran for a good little while there too. I'm gonna try something to see if I can get it run a little bit longer. If you look down here, right here, I think that's the bowl, like where it overflows. So I just put a bunch of fuel in there, hoping that I filled up the bowl. And if so, that means it's gonna run a little bit longer, possibly. So let's see if we can get that done. Maybe throw a little bit more fuel in here. There it goes. All right. Sweet. Yeah, it's running off that bowl. Sounds great. Still running. There it goes. Running out of fuel. Maybe not. There it goes. That ran out of fuel. Cool. All right. Okay, for my next trick, I'm gonna try to drive this hoss to the back porch and get it out of the driveway. What I did do was I put a hose to the fuel pump into the jerry can. I did fire it up and it seems to be working. Battery's a little low, so I've got the battery charging on the truck right now, but I'm about to fire it up and take that off and see if I can't get this thing in the backyard. I know the e-brake works, so I have that, and other than that, it's just going to be a crapshoot. So this will be fun. Wish me luck. All right, I got to do this somewhat quick. Start it, pull the jumper cables, get in, put it in drive there, put it in. Yeah. All right. Have to turn the key on. Brakes actually feel it. High. First gear. Not. Of course it's stuck in here. Oh. a little bit. Made it. A little sketch, but we made it. How about that? I made it back here. It's a little sketchy, but I made it. And by the time it got back here, it was actually running pretty good, but there's no coolant in this thing, so I didn't want to run it for long. And I'm glad the battery had enough juice in it to start up a couple times. I think the clutch was rusted at first, so it was popping and not really wanting to go in gear. But then the more we kind of jostled it around and I messed with the clutch and stuff, it seemed to work. So, and then it got back here and man, it had great throttle response. So checking over everything, I don't see any fuel leak at all. And I think that's awesome, but it'd be nice not to have to go through everything, in all honesty. Just trying to kind of clean it up a little bit, maybe with the pressure washer, and get all the gunk off of it. But it's back here, so that means we can start working on the paint and the body, see if we can get any of that shine out of it. So that is just super cool. I'm very, very stoked. Y'all better look at it with the door shut. I love the back end of this thing. It just looks great. So I'm gonna leave y'all off there on this one. If you're liking this project, please subscribe. Overall, thank anybody that's sitting here, you know, spending their time watching this video. Nothing's more valuable than time, and we certainly appreciate that. I certainly appreciate that, and couldn't be more happy with this new project. It's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be nice not having to jack it up on the time to work on it, but I don't know, we'll see where this goes. I'd like to get it running, and might have some plans with some buddies who's got some four-wheel drives as well later on, so stick around for that. As always, we certainly appreciate you guys for coming along, and you know the deal. Until next time, y'all be good.